everyone, it's Daphne from Scrap and Create, and I'm going to continue working on the 8.5 by 8.5 mini album featuring the Life is a Journey collection from Graphic 45. And right now we're going to focus on page 4 and 5, and because they're mirror images of each other, I'm going to do them side by side, which I don't usually do, but since they're right next to each other, we're going to go ahead and do that. And I kind of was messing around a little bit today, trying to figure out how I'm going to keep these closed. So I'm going to share with you what I came up with. I'm going to set page 5 aside, and we're going to look at page 4. So in page 4, I'm using the 12 by 12 for the top flaps, and then the inside is actually from the 8 by 8. So I wanted to share that with you. We are going to need 2 of these chipboard pieces. We're going to use them as the fasteners, one for page 5 and one for page 4. So if you go ahead and get those out. And then I'm also going to use the black ribbon that comes as part of the bundle. Okay, so let's get started. So I'm going to set the papers aside for just a second. So the way that these are going to operate is they're going to be 2 doors that open left and right. But in addition to that, they're also going to open this way. So you get a full page on either side. So what we're going to do first is apply the hinge to the pocket page. And here's the pocket page, page 4. Here's our spine. We're going to attach them like so. And then we can come back around and add this piece. And then after we're done with that, I'll show you what we're going to do with the magnets on the inside. So what you're going to need is you're going to need for each one of the pages, page 4 and 5, you're going to need 2 8.5 by 8 pieces of paper that are going to turn into the flap. You're going to score it 1/2 inch and 4.5 inches. And that's the way they're going to operate. Okay. So with that, I'm going to set this aside, get my pick tool. I'm going to go ahead and lay these in. Okay, so they're going to go to the left and right. So one's going to be on the spine, one's going to be on the pocket. And because we have the waterfall feature on page 3, it's a little bit bumpy, so it's going to be a little tricky to get it in straight, so take your time. I'm going to try to pull it up and flatten it as I go. There we go. Okay. Okay. So this again is going to be the pocket side. Here is our spine side. This side's much flatter. It'll go in a lot easier. Okay, there we go. So now I'm going to verify that that's the upside. So this is the top, which is also where I wrote the page 4 that you can still see a little bit of. This is going to go on the inside. So I'm going to dry fit that real fast and double check that I've trimmed it. Okay, I need to get some ink on here. Okay, so this is going to go here. So this is going to close like so. So now, because these open to each side, like so. So what I've done is I've added the magnets already to the flaps, and I'm going to show that to you on the page 5. I went ahead and added my magnets to the insides of these. That'll go on the top side, to the insides of the flap. So on the outside, we're going to have the red panels. And on the insides, we're going to have these yellow panels. On the red panels, that's where we're actually going to adhere this chipboard. It's going to have a magnet on the back, and it's going to locate and share this magnet. So on both of the outside panels, you're going to want to mount these magnets a little closer to the center so that you can apply your magnet to your chipboard and still have the magnet centered. Now originally when I laid this down, and I'll show you on this example, I had put the magnets closer to the edges of the paper, and then when I laid down my chipboard, it was too far to one side. So I want my magnet to be closer to centered. I mean, not the magnet, but the chipboard to look centered once I have it placed. So on both of the panels that are on the outside that have the red on them, I moved the magnets a little closer toward the center. Okay, so now I'm going to set that aside so you have some idea of what I was talking about. And then what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take my black ribbon, and the ribbon is actually going to run across this page. The chipboard's going to sit on top, like so, and then this ribbon is going to run across and be tucked under this panel so that you will pull up the ribbon to open these two pages. So even though we have an additional magnet here, we're not actually using that magnet to hold these two doors closed. What's going to hold it closed is this ribbon, okay? So hopefully that makes sense. I thought about running the ribbon across and tying it and looked at it a couple of different ways, and I think I like this the best. It's a fairly masculine paper, so bows didn't really serve it very well. So that's currently what my plan is, okay? So again, these two magnets are closer toward the center, not exactly, but I placed it, then I laid down my chipboard, and what I'm wanting is to see my chipboard be kind of centered here, and that's close enough for me. So now the next thing I want to do is adhere this ribbon to the back of this. So it's actually going to wind up covering up the magnet and the tape here. And then I want the ribbon to go to the end of this paper and be even. So I'm just laying it down to get an idea. Okay, that's what it's going to look like. So you'll want to lay down your ribbon and then add your chipboard to the top of it. It's a little bit tricky, and of course if you want you can use magnets too. This is just I wanted to do something a little bit different, so this is what I came up with. I am going to put some tape on the back of my magnet so that the ribbon will stick to it. And then I'm also going to add some glue. So it's going to be tape and glue and then the ribbon. So this is something new for me. I've not done this closure design before. I was just trying to come up with something different. And if you look closely, right here is one of the flat matte pearls. So if you did the last album, you purchased some of these, and we're just going to use the same pack to continue making albums. I'm trying to feel for the magnet. The magnets should do most of the work for us in terms of locating the chipboard on the paper. But you'll have to straighten it out just a little bit. Okay. That looks pretty good. Okay, so I'm going to press all that into place and pull it up, and I'm going to burnish the ribbon onto the chipboard piece here. And I'm going to add a little bit of glue to the front here, just right here. And we'll burnish that in place. We're going to give that a second to dry. Now that we have this done, we can see how it's going to fit on here, and we can start to figure out how much length we need here. Okay, so now that that's done, we're going to dry fit and prepare this red piece here. And that looks good, and I need some ink on it. so that is going to go in just like so. So I'm going to go ahead and put that on. I just flipped it over to verify that this is up because the words are definitely directional, and it is, so I've got that confirmed. Okay, so that's in. So I'll show you again. This is what our strap is going to look like. Okay, and ideally we want it to go to the very edge of the panel. I'm going to go ahead and lay this down since it's a loose piece. Okay. You guys can probably hear Nala come in. You can hear her necklace. Okay, so that's in. Okay, so these are going to close like so. I don't know what's going on here, but didn't want to, oh, there's my son. He just got home. All right, so that's going to go like so. So now we need this piece. So I've got two options. I can either run that right behind it, just like so. And the other option is to have the ribbon go across the front and be tucked in behind. So I'm trying to make a decision here, and I actually think I like this better. Yeah. So that's what we're going to do. And actually, instead of tucking it under this piece, I'm going to wind up putting it underneath this piece. So I'm going to go ahead and shorten it. It's going to actually be attached to this side. Oh, is it? I have to think. I think I've got color blocking going on here, so that might be an issue for me. Yeah, I do. So that might be a challenge. Nope, it's going to come across like so. And the reason is I've got color blocking on this side, so there's going to be a split here, and I think that's going to be too hard to measure. So I'm going to go ahead and put it on this side. And it doesn't have to come all the way across, just, you know, a nice generous amount. It's not going to show. Okay, we're going to put some tape down to adhere to this panel, and then we're going to put the decorative paper on top of it. And I think this is going to be long enough, or maybe too long. I don't know. We'll see. Nope, that looks right. All right. So I just want it to be extra firmly adhered, so I'm doing tape and glue. Okay, here's our tape and ribbon. So now I'm just trying to square everything off so that the ribbon comes across straight and taut. Okay, that looks good. Now I'm going to, cool. So then when we open it, it'll open just like that. Okay, and there's some chipboard exposed here, and I think I'm just gonna color that in black. You could add another piece of paper on top of it, but I think I want it to be very strong, so I don't think I wanna put another layer between it. All right, so this is going to go just like so. And I'm just checking it. It needs ink. Okay, get some glue. It's way too high, sorry. Okay, there it is. So that's how it's going to open, like so. Okay, so on this side we've got the 2 magnets, and on this side we've got 3, a magnet here and 2 on the inside, okay? And again, we're going to do the same thing for page 5. So I also added a little bit of what's called fray check to the very end of the ribbon, since we're going to be handling it to open this page. I wanted to add some fray check so that it doesn't fray on us over time. So it might be something you want to consider if you're doing the same closure. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and do page 5 because this is very similar. So we're going to do the same left and right flaps like so. And then we need to add a magnet to the back of this chipboard. And I think it's going to sit just like so. So there I've added the magnet to place it, but I don't want it to stick to the red paper. It's actually going to stick to this chipboard. So I'm looking to see if it's relatively centered, and I think it is. So I'm going to add some tape and pick up that magnet on the back side of this chipboard real quick. And I'm just quickly adding some, trying to quickly add some double-sided tape. All right, and so now that we've got this laid, it's just laid down here temporarily, but what we're looking to do is get this piece of chipboard centered left and right on this panel, okay? That's the goal. Not too high, not too low, just centered left and right. Press it into place. Okay, and then the next step is we're going to add the magnet to the back and across just like we did on the other one, okay? So now that we're done testing this page, we can go ahead and ink it and lay it down so it's not floating around on us. Okay. All right, that's in. Okay, that's in. And we know we can't put this down yet because we're going to have to add that ribbon first. So we can lay that back down and we can start to measure off our ribbon. And I'm going to put some fray check on the end of it, which I haven't done yet. and this will be the side that we're pulling on, so that's the side you want your fray check on. And I'm going to give that to a minute to dry, and while I'm doing that, I'll get out and get ready. Page 5. Here it is. Okay, here's our pocket page for page 5. Here's our spine. So everything is going to get installed like so. So while we're waiting for the fray check to dry, we can go ahead and get our left and right flaps in. And this will go very easily because there's nothing on the other side. We haven't started page 6 yet. Okay, so there they go. There it is, there it is. Okay, and this will open this way, magnets, and open this way, more magnets, and then they open completely out like that. So again, they're all the same. Now this one, it's the same pattern on this side, but we're gonna use the alternate on this page. Let's see if I've got it. It's not trimmed, so hang on. Okay, I like a 1/16 inch border. That means I'm taking my 8 by 8 page and trimming it down to 7 7/8 by 7 7/8. Okay. I'm pushing to make sure that both pages are going to operate smoothly when it's pressed into place, and it feels like it is. It's a little tight on one side. So I am actually going to trim it down. It's a little too tight. So 7 7/8 was not enough with the 2 hinges, so I'm going to trim it just a little bit more. And I exercise great caution if you decide to pull it up, but if you do pull it up, don't pull it straight up. Always try to tug at an angle and you'll get a better release. And I shouldn't have done that in the first place. I should have dry fit, which I tell you guys to do all the time, and this is why. So you don't have to lay it down twice. And even after you have glue on it, if you want to dry fit, the way to do it is, and I'll show you because there's already glue on it, is lay it down on the dry side, because all you're really doing is testing the width, right? Part of the challenge is I'm having a hard time seeing all my edges. Still too tight on this side, so I need to shift it over a bit more. Okay. Okay, that closed nice and smooth, so did that. I'm just trying to make sure that the edge of this paper, this design paper, is not in the hinge area of the flap, and that can cause it to bind up a little bit. Okay, everything seems fine now. We're ready for our ribbon. me check and see if it's dry. It feels dry to me. Okay, so we're ready to lay our ribbon down. So we can, it's actually not cut straight. I hate that. I'm checking to see if it's directional. I want it to match the other page. Looks like it's this side. It's very faint, but there is a little bit of a direction. All right, so I know I want it about this long. So we can go ahead and make that cut. And it's about this long, which is about 6 inches. Okay, so we know we want it to come all the way across this side and have enough to anchor on the opposite side. Okay. And that's looking pretty good. So I'm just going to run some tape on the back of this. And I'm going to run it the full length over the magnet and to the other end. That'll just help keep everything in place. And then because there's ribbon on this side, it'll be able to slide smoothly across the designer paper. And then when I'm done, I'm going to add two of those black matte pearls. I did that a little too soon. Okay. Okay, that looks pretty good. So while I have it held in place, I'm actually going to go ahead and lay this side down. And I'm using some fat tape. I'm going to lay it right on the other side. I'm going to try. It's very, wants to shift. Okay, I think that's pretty straight. Now that this is being anchored into place, I feel more comfortable putting this down on top of the magnet. I think I'm gonna okay, I'm just gonna use my bone folder and burnish it all into place. There we go. That's ready. Okay, now we're ready to put our designer paper down here. It's a little fussy, but I kind of like the way it turned out. Sometimes it's hard coming up with something new. Okay. So I had not trimmed it down. Should be good now. Okay, there we go. So there's page 4 and 5, what it's going to look like in the closed position. And now I'm going to set 5 aside and we're going to get busy on the inside. Okay, so we've got some work to do on the inside. And I've got papers, but they're not all trimmed out. 1, 2, okay, there we go. All right, so what I'm planning on doing here is blue and blue. We can do that, or we can do this. I haven't really decided, but they still need to be trimmed out. But this is why I didn't put the ribbon on the back side, because I know I'm going to have a gap here, and I didn't want to see the ribbon peeking through. So I think I'm going to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and take some quick tick marks and measure these down so that they fit. Now remember, they're on a 4-inch panel. So my guess is they need to be 3 3/8, but I'm going to start with 1, get it sized right, and then trim everything else down from that. Okay, and I have to make sure that it doesn't bind, and that looks good. So let's see. 3 3/8, or 3 7/8. Sorry, 3 7/8. 3 7/8. Okay, getting our widths in. 3 7/8. 3 7/8. Okay, now as you can see, there's no gap between them, and I'd like there to be, so I'm going to trim a little bit off of each of them so that we have a little bit of a gap. So we'll try that first. That looks pretty darn good, so I think I'm happy with that. So I'm going to make sure everything is, all things equal. It looks like I need to shave a tiny bit off one. Okay. I'm going to ink these and put them down. I'm going to come across, do the same thing over there. So it's going to look square, but they're not quite perfectly square. So when you come back to lay these down, make sure you've got them going the right direction, length and height wise. Okay, that looks great. Okay, we're gonna do the same thing on this side. I'm gonna turn it around so I can get a better look. I'm gonna check my measurements. Okay, 3 7/8. 3 7/8, okay. So now I'm gonna stack these on top of each other, and then I'm gonna trim them at the same time. Let's see how we did. I think that looks pretty good. We're going to ink it, lay it down. And then we're going to reverse these because we want the dark pattern on the top and then so it's kind of alternating. Okay, that's the inside covers. Now we've got, and we're going to do the same thing on page 5. I think it's blue patterns, but it's not the same 2 blue patterns. Now what we're going to do here is alternate this black and this cream. So we're going to do the same thing here. And then on the flip side, you close this and open it this way. Same thing is going to happen. We're going to alternate the cream and the black panels. So that's where we're headed. So let's go ahead and get started. And I have to make sure when I lay these down that my magnets don't get exposed. And you know what? I don't think I can. So I might have to change my plan here. When I originally designed this this magnet placement, I hadn't thought about color blocking, and I can feel right now that if I lay this down, the magnet's going to stick out. So I'm not going to be able to color block here. We're going to have to use a solid piece of paper, so I have to find something I can trim out for both of these pages. So that may take me a second to find enough matching paper. And we have to do it on both sides. So there you go. That happens. That happens. I love this paper. So I am actually going to use this. I'm going to split it in half, and one's going to go on this side and one's going to go on the other side. So we're going to do this, and we're going to do an alternate here. And then on the flip side, we're going to do the same thing. Again, I can't use these because the magnets will be exposed. So we're going to put this piece here. And this is from the 8x8 collection. Okay. Now I need to find something to put on this side. And I think, let's see, what do we have? Purple and blue on the inside. It's a lot of purple and blue. So I am going to use the 12x12 cream cardstock sheet that comes with the collection. And I'm going to trim down 2 pieces, so there's going to be a cream on each side. So I still have the same black and white effect that I wanted. It's just not color blocked the way I had originally planned. And now we're going to add a strip here too. 3 7/8. Okay, there we go. Let's go ahead and ink these and get them laid down. I'm trying to decide which way I want them. I don't think it really matters. So this is page 4. So the spine is going to be on this side. So I was just trying to think that through. So I think I actually want the cream on this side, on the spine side. Although I really don't think it matters that much. And you'll notice I'm not inking the edge of the cream paper. It's solid core, so the core is the same color as the top, so I don't feel like there's a need to ink it. That's purely a preference. Now if it was cream with a white core, I would ink it. Okay, and now we're going to put the black on this side. Didn't look quite right. Doesn't look quite clear, so I'm going to check it out. Because it's not. It's not exactly what I designed, but I still think it looks beautiful. And actually it's less fuss to do larger pieces. Okay, same thing here. Just dry fitting. Okay. Not happy with that. Try that one more time. Better. Better. This is, the chipboard's causing a big bump here when it's laid this way. That's why I closed it, to press everything into place. So there we go. Okay. Page 4 is done. Page 4 is done. Page 5 is partly done. Now we need to do the 2 inside liners, and I'm going to locate my papers. So originally, like I said, I was going to do color blocking on the flip side, but we're going to have to find some alternate paper. But we can do some color blocking on the 2 insides. And I thought here they are. I was gonna say, I thought I trimmed out some blues, but I did. Here they are. Here are the blues that I'm planning to lay down. Here's the 4th one. So all of these are gonna get repurposed. Nope. So I think I like that, because this looks kind of flat. So I'm thinking I might want to use this and this. Yep, there we go. I'm happy with that. So now we need to trim everything down to fit. So I just took 1/8 of an inch off the width here, and that's perfect. Okay, so now I need to take a little bit off the overall height, and I think it's also going to be 1/8 of an inch. Maybe a little less. Yep, that looks good. Okay, I think we're going to finish up page 5. I actually just decided this is too low. And then I think I'm going to take a break for the day. And 6 and 7 will be tomorrow. There we go. That's not what I wanted to do. I wanted the blue side, so that's not gonna work. Luckily I have another piece, but I have to trim it. That's why I'm gonna stop after page 5. And 16th. It looks like I've already trimmed these, so let's check it out. That's too tight to the hinge. So I need to come off a little. Okay, I think that's good. Ooh, that's too big of a gap. I don't know why that's so. Maybe this goes this way. One of these is not trimmed right. One of these is not like the other. That magnet, the two magnets in here are making it hard to burnish this and get it to lay flat. So you're going to have a little bit of trouble getting those in flat. You're going to feel a bubble here. Shoot, I forgot to ink it. Bumping the table on you guys, sorry about that. Okay, so there are the two inside panels. And like I said, there's a magnet there, so it's making it a hard time keeping it flat. So now we still need to decorate the two inside panels, and I don't have any paper for that, so I'm gonna have to come back and do that later. I've got to locate some coordinating papers. I am probably going to use 2 cream pieces like I did on the other side. I just don't know what the other papers are yet. I've got to dig through and see what I've got left. Okay, I found 2 pieces of paper which I've trimmed out that are going to go, so I took 2 of these and 2 of these, so they're going to go on the inside of page 5, like so, and then they're also on this side, like so. And I think they're trimmed out, so they still need to be inked and then just glued down. So turn this sideways so I can get a better look at what I'm doing. Okay, I am ready to glue this. Beautiful. And there we go, there is page 5. So I'll walk you through both of those again, but that's page 4 and 5. So these open left and right, and then they also open each way. There we go. And then of course the magnet on the back side just makes this snap right into place. And that's it for page 4 and 5.